Feeling is the real mechanism behind creation, and this is where most people misunderstand manifestation. They believe that repeating affirmations, visualizing harder, or emotionally forcing positivity will change their lives. But none of those work without feeling. Feeling is not emotion, excitement, or intensity. Feeling is as acceptancy. It is the inner knowing that something is already true. The subconscious mind does not respond to words alone. It responds to the as state you occupy. When you feel something as real, natural, and familiar, the subconscious treats it as a fact and begins to express it through your external world. Think about your name. You do not affirm it all day. You do not visualize it. You simply feel that it is yours. There is no effort, no doubt, no urgency. That quiet certainty is the exact state required for manifestation. The feeling of reality. The moment your desire feels like a memory instead of a wish, it is impressed upon the subconscious. Most people fail because they are trying to get a feeling instead of entering it. They wait for the world to change so they can feel fulfilled, confident, loved, or secure. But the law works in reverse. You must feel fulfilled first, and then the world rearranges itself to reflect that feeling. Feeling is not the reward, it is the cause. When you occupy the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are no longer asking, you are declaring. This feeling does not come from effort, it comes from relaxation. When the body is calm and the mind is quiet, imagination becomes more vivid and believable. In that state, you gently assume the inner position of the version of you who already has what you want. You are not pretending, you are selecting a state. Every state carries its own feeling, and every feeling produces its own outcomes. Another key misunderstanding is thinking that feeling must be emotional or dramatic. In reality, the most powerful manifestations come from a neutral, grounded feeling. Relief, calm confidence, inner stillness. The feeling of course. When something is truly yours, there is no excitement, only knowing. That is why forcing happiness or excitement often delays results. It signals to the subconscious that the desire is not yet natural. Feeling is the bridge between imagination and reality. The moment you feel something is done, time collapses. The subconscious does not reason, question, or analyze. It accepts and executes. Whatever you consistently feel to be true becomes the blueprint your life must follow. This is not philosophy, it is a law. So when you are told to feel it, understand this clearly. You are being asked to accept the reality of your desire internally. When that acceptance becomes stable, the outer world has no choice but to conform. Feeling is not something you add to manifestation. Feeling is manifestation. Most people unknowingly block their own manifestations because they live in a constant state of wanting. The moment you say, I am trying to manifest this, you are affirming absence. Wanting, hoping, and wishing all come from the same assumption that what you desire is not yours yet. And the subconscious mind is brutally honest. It does not respond to what you want, it responds to who you are being. This is why Neville Goddard emphasized that creation is finished. Everything already exists, and your role is not to create, but to select the version of yourself who already has it. Being is far more powerful than effort. When you try to get something, you remain psychologically separate from it. You look at it from the outside, reaching toward it. But when you shift into being, there is no distance. You move from the state of, I want, to the state of, this is normal for me. That inner shift is what changes everything. The law does not respond to desire, it responds to identity. Your life is always reflecting who you believe yourself to be right now. Ask yourself this simple question: who would I be if this desire were already fulfilled? Not what would I do to get it, but who would I be? How would I breathe? How would I walk into a room? How would I speak to myself internally? The moment you answer these questions, you begin to feel the difference. That feeling is the state you must occupy. Manifestation is not an event, it is a shift in self-concept. This is why affirmations fail when they are spoken from the wrong state. Saying, I am wealthy, while feeling like someone who is struggling only strengthens the struggle. But when the identity changes, when you feel secure, calm, and abundant, wealth follows naturally. The outer world is always a delayed reflection of your inner self-definition. Change the inner role you are playing, and the stage of life must adjust. You do not need to force behavior. Behavior changes automatically when identity changes. A person who feels confident does not try to act confident. Confidence expresses itself without effort. In the same way, a person who feels fulfilled does not chase outcomes. Outcomes arrive. When you live from the end, action becomes intuitive instead of desperate. Letting go of trying does not mean giving up. It means surrendering control and trusting the law. Trying is tension. Being is alignment. The moment you stop chasing and start assuming, resistance dissolves. You no longer ask when or how. You simply move through life with the quiet knowing that it is handled. This is the true meaning of living in the end. You are not waiting for reality to confirm you. You confirm reality internally first. When you stop trying to get and start being, manifestation becomes effortless, natural, and inevitable. To enter the feeling state, you must first understand that this is not a mental exercise of force, but a gentle inward movement of awareness. The doorway to the subconscious is relaxation. When the body is tense and the mind is racing, imagination feels unreal. But when you slow down, breathe naturally, and allow your muscles to soften, the mind becomes receptive. This relaxed condition is what Neville Goddard referred to as the state akin to sleep, a drowsy, receptive awareness where impressions sink deeply and effortlessly. Once you are relaxed, you do not imagine a long movie or complicated scenario. You select one short, simple scene that would naturally occur after your desire has already been fulfilled. The key word is after. You are not imagining how it happens, you are imagining what confirms that it has already happened. This could be a brief congratulatory conversation, a quiet moment of gratitude, or the feeling of relief that comes with completion. Keep it short enough that it can loop easily without strain. As you imagine this scene, shift your focus away from visuals and towards sensation. Ask yourself, how would this feel if it were true right now? Would there be relief in your chest, calmness in your breathing, a sense of stability or inner peace? Feeling is not something you manufacture, it is something you allow. You are not acting or pretending. You are consenting to the reality of the state you are entering. Many people make the mistake of trying to intensify emotion, believing that stronger emotion means stronger manifestation. In truth, intensity often signals effort, and effort signals disbelief. The correct feeling is subtle and natural. It feels similar to remembering something rather than imagining something new. When the feeling is right, there is no excitement, only quiet certainty. This is how the subconscious recognizes truth. If the scene feels unstable or artificial, do not force it. Gently return to relaxation. Sometimes the feeling arrives not through imagery at all, but through inner dialogue. You may silently hear yourself thinking from the fulfilled state, such as, "I'm so glad this worked out," or "everything is finally in place." These inner statements, when felt as natural, are just as powerful as images. Stay with the feeling only as long as it feels comfortable. Even a few seconds of true acceptance is enough. The subconscious does not require duration, it requires conviction. Once the feeling is impressed, release it. Do not watch for results or check reality for confirmation. That behavior reactivates the state of lack. Instead, return to your day knowing that the seed has been planted. With practice, entering the feeling state becomes easier and faster. You begin to recognize the inner shift, the moment where effort drops and knowing takes over. That is the moment creation is complete. The outer world may take time to rearrange, but the cause has already been set. When you learn how to enter the feeling state correctly, manifestation stops being mysterious and becomes a repeatable inner skill. One of the most overlooked aspects of manifestation is the importance of naturalness. The subconscious mind accepts only what feels normal and familiar. Anything that feels exaggerated, dramatic, or forced is interpreted as unreal. This is why many people visualize or affirm for years without results. They are trying to convince themselves instead of allowing a new state to feel ordinary. Creation does not respond to excitement or emotional peaks. It responds to what you quietly accept as, "This is just how things are now." When something truly belongs to you, there is no inner celebration attached to it. You do not wake up every morning excited that gravity still works or that your name is still your name. These things feel neutral, stable, and unquestioned. That neutrality is the exact emotional tone you must reach with your desire. The goal is not to feel happy about having it, but to feel calm because having it is no longer extraordinary. When the desire stops feeling special, it starts feeling real. Forced feeling is one of the biggest traps. People push themselves to feel grateful, joyful, or powerful because they believe higher emotion equals faster manifestation. In reality, forcing emotion creates resistance. It keeps you aware that you are performing a technique. The subconscious does not respond to performance, it responds to authenticity. The correct feeling emerges naturally when you stop trying to feel and instead allow yourself to accept the state as already done. Naturalness develops through familiarity. The more often you gently return to the fulfilled state, the more familiar it becomes. At first, the feeling may appear briefly and then fade. That is normal. You are introducing a new assumption, and assumptions strengthen through repetition, not intensity. Each time you return to the feeling without effort, you normalize it. Over time, the state begins to feel like home. Another key sign that the feeling is natural is the absence of urgency. When you are desperate for results, you are still identifying with lack. The fulfilled state does not need proof. It does not need reassurance. It simply is. When you notice urgency, do not judge yourself. Just recognize that you have slipped into wanting and gently return to being. This gentle return is far more powerful than force. Naturalness also means allowing the desire to feel incomplete in the outer world without reacting. You do not deny what you see, you just refuse to let it define you. Reality catches up when the inner state stabilizes, not when you argue with appearances. The more calm and unbothered you are by current circumstances, the faster they shift. Eventually, the feeling becomes so normal that you stop thinking about manifesting altogether. You are no longer doing the law, you are living it. At that point, manifestation is inevitable. The subconscious has accepted the state, and the outer world must reflect it in its own way and time. When the feeling is natural, there is nothing left to do. Creation is complete, and expression is guaranteed. Persistence is not about repeating techniques or forcing belief. It is about remaining loyal to the inner state you have chosen, even when the outer world seems to contradict it. Most people misunderstand persistence and turn it into struggle. They repeat affirmations anxiously, visualize with tension, and constantly check for results. This behavior does not strengthen the assumption. It weakens it because it keeps attention fixed on the absence of fulfillment rather than the presence of it. True persistence is quiet. It is an inner decision that does not require constant reinforcement. Once you have entered the feeling of the wish fulfilled, your only responsibility is to return to that feeling whenever you notice yourself drifting into doubt. Doubts are not enemies, they are indicators. They simply show you which state you are occupying. When a doubt appears, you do not fight it, analyze it, or suppress it. You gently shift your awareness back to the state of fulfillment, just as you would adjust your posture if you noticed yourself slouching. The subconscious mind does not require perfection. You do not need to feel fulfilled every second of the day. What matters is the dominant state you return to. Persistence means that fulfillment becomes your psychological home base. Even if you temporarily react to circumstances, you no longer stay there. You come back. Each return strengthens the assumption, making it more stable and natural. Many people give up because they believe manifestation should feel easy all the time. In truth, persistence involves discipline, not effort. Discipline is the willingness to choose your inner state again and again without emotional drama. You are not trying to convince reality. You are refusing to let appearances redefine you. The outer world is always a reflection of past assumptions. When you understand this, present circumstances lose their power to discourage you. Time delay is often misinterpreted as failure. In reality, delay is simply the interval between assumption and expression. During this interval, persistence is tested. If you react emotionally to delay, you reinforce the old state. If you remain internally faithful, the new state solidifies. The law never fails. It only mirrors consistency. What you consistently assume must eventually objectify itself. Persistence also means allowing inspired action to arise naturally. When you are aligned with the fulfilled state, actions feel effortless and intuitive. You are not pushing, you are responding. Trying to force action from a state of lack creates resistance, but action that flows from being feels calm and correct. This is why those who live in the end often appear lucky. Reality cooperates with their assumptions. Eventually, persistence transforms into certainty. The desire no longer feels like a desire, it feels inevitable. At that point, you stop checking for signs because you no longer need reassurance. The inner shift has already happened, and the outer shift is only a matter of time. Persistence is not holding on tightly. It is resting confidently in the knowing that what you have assumed as true cannot fail to appear.